Thank you. Please have a seat. And if you could switch off your phones now, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. My advisees often make me think. A couple days ago, one of my advisees told me his team had suffered an embarrassing loss. I asked him, why was it embarrassing? Do you guys not try hard enough? He said, I don't know, but we lost, didn't we? And that made me think. A few months ago, another advisee of mine sent me a YouTube link to a TED Talk given by a legendary UCLA gymnastics coach, Valerie Condos Field. She's known across the U.S. as Miss Val. She won 7 national championships, but despite all those wins, her TED Talk was titled, Why Winning Doesn't Equal Success. My advisee sent me this. Miss Val wants to redefine success and believes that this extreme, win-at-all-costs, all-or-nothing culture we've created leaves people walking away from sports more damaged than when they came. Damaged. That's a strong word. And that made me think. And it's not just advisees. Teachers make me think too. Yesterday, Miss Garrett sent me a video about Josh Spidell, who 5 years ago was recruited to play basketball at the University of Vermont, 2 hours from here, the same university where Mr. Wells' daughter plays basketball. But Josh was in a car crash and suffered a severe brain injury before his first season started. His basketball career was over. He had to relearn everything, how to walk, how to talk. But his coach and teammates promised him there would always be a place for him on the team. And the university promised to honor his 4-year scholarship. So Josh stayed on the team. He practiced every day and never played a second for 5 years until last Tuesday at their senior night. The two teams come up with a plan. Josh starts the game. Right away, first play, UVM stands back, lets their opponent score an uncontested basket. Then their opponents return the favor. UVM takes the ball, dribbles down the floor. They make sure each teammate touches it before passing to a cutting Josh, who scores the layup. Timeout. Josh hugs his teammates, his coaches, and his opponents, and then subs off, with half the crowd cheering madly and the other half fighting back tears. All 3 of those stories make me think about what's actually important about sports. I'd like you to think about that too. Speaking of thinking, I'd also like you to think about the many, many people here at Stanstead College who help you every day in athletics. Miss Perron and Miss Castonguay in the health center, your athletic therapist, Miss LaBelle, all the great people in maintenance, in the kitchen, the laundry staff, our drivers, Miss Nikki Campbell, and the team of Mrs. Wilkinson and Mr. Blair for their commitment to yoga and cross-country skiing, respectively. We are lucky to have such enthusiastic experts in their fields. The basketball minor officials, also known as the Skittles crew, led by Faiz Akbar, who learned to trade from Miss Emma Kirkham. Mrs. Wolf, who helps me in athletics and who I could not live without. Miss Alta Sheldon, you may have heard of her, who makes it all happen at the gymnasium. And of course, your incredibly dedicated coaches who care about your team's success, but who care more about you. So all of these people help every one of you get the most out of your Stanstead College athletics experience. I'd ask that you show your appreciation to all of them with a heartfelt round of applause. Now, on to the ceremony. Our first program to be recognized, junior girls basketball, Miss Perus.
Good evening. First of all, I would like to say thank you to all the faculty, staff, the health center, especially Ms. Alta, who worked hard to make sure that our season was successful. Also, I have one honorable mention to give before starting my speech. To start, I want to take a moment to talk about Miss Eshen. In September, Miss Eshen volunteered to coach the junior girl basketball team with me. I was so excited to work with her. At this moment, I found not only an assistant coach, but also a friend who would help me to become a better person. Ms. Eshen helped me to remember that basketball was a fun sport and that every competition should be like a game without pressure. Ms. Eshen made me laugh in every dramatic moment or moment where we were completely discouraged about a situation. She was listening and supportive in every situation of my life. This season would not be the same without you. Thank you so much. Now, let's talk about our season. At first, I would like to introduce this basketball season with one word: improvement. The result of our team is represented by the effort that we put in practice and the learning that we did from both the win and the losses. For your information, we won 7 games in the regular season and lost 5. How a season could be really so successful? Practicing hard every day from November to March. The team spirit and the effort that those girls demonstrated was unbelievable. They were working so hard in practice and the games. In February, in only 3 weeks, we won the Bantam BCS tournament. In the playoff, we lost by 6 against the first place team, and we won the bronze medal against Richmond. Fun fact about Richmond, we lost against them by 1 in overtime in November. Coaches and parents at the playoff from different teams applaud you on just how much you improve. Of course we improve, we had to. Each game, we start our game plan with the same question. What are the most important things in basketball? Simone will say, Miss, it's never the same answer. You know what, Simone, you were right. Here are the answers. Put the orange thing in the orange thing. Defense. Never stop. Run like crazy. Box out. And finally, have fun. To remember the most important things in basketball, we had a few key points. Put more effort. Be aggressive. Take care of the baby. Who will put the baby in bed? Who will be the bodyguard? You can do it, but the house. Attack the house. Protect the house. Don't let her in the kitchen. She went right into the fridge. Protect the house. Help. Who's in help? Sit on her. Swim. Swim. Use your hand. Use your feet. And sometimes we did mistake like a team. Miss, which inbounds play we should do? Line or I? Line. Line. Use the square. Use the square. I think I never got this song, right? Thank you, girls, for everything you did this season. We hope you will remember these important lessons for many years to come. For the award, that was a hard decision. In our mind, everybody should deserve an award for their effort, but we can't. So we decided to give special mention by sentences to remember our season. In the end, like all teams, choosing individual for awards is difficult because we grew together. We learned so much from you, and you learned so much from each other. There is something to be learned from each of you. Your incredible three-point shot that had the whole bench on their feet. Your leadership on running the play in every single team cheer. Your sneaky come from out of nowhere steal. Your almost out of control super speedy run the whole floor fast break. Your Euro step drive the lane just when we need it. Your unbelievable never-ending full court pressure. Your incredible defense at the playoff. You're sneaky to run the floor when no one is looking and hit the bank shot. Your incredible takeover at the BCS tournament, beating everyone on the offense and defense. You're always ready and always shoot mentally. The way you jump off the bench to cheer for your teammate. So now for the awards, Please wait until the end before coming to the front. So I will start with the Sportsmanship Award. The Sportsmanship Award will go to a positive person. These girls never gave up or complained even if she had to defend someone super aggressively. She is an aggressive player on the box out and always with a smile at the finish. Even if it was a dramatic situation, she always had the words to make her teammates smile. The Sportsmanship Award goes to Maria Casa Soto. Now, the Junior S. The Junior S will go to a girl who worked hard in the game and practice. She always tried to push herself harder. She was probably the person who had the most free throw and the most bruises of all team. She tried to make a good decision and was not afraid to attack the basket even if most of the time she finished on the floor. For her perseverance and effort, and as a representative of her team, the Junior S go to Emanuela Udo. Now you can come in the front, ladies, please.
Before calling up the first hockey program of the evening, I'd like to invite our Director of Hockey Operations, Mr. Ryu, to come up and say a few words. Mr. Ryu.
Good evening, everyone. Many thanks to all of you who helped make the season run smoothly. There are too many to thank individually, but I'd like to acknowledge a few. Mark, Josh, Mario, David, and Andre at the arena. Shannon Garrett for her outstanding work on social media promoting our teams. Mr. Huckins and the maintenance crew for literally building a new locker room for our thirds team from scratch under the far part of the bleachers. Mr. DiCarlo and Xavier Roy for all their time and effort working with our athletes in the gym. They've brought a level of professionalism and expertise that has truly improved our off-ice training tremendously. Frédéric Labelle and Ms. Perron and our medical team for taking such great care of the athletes. And moreover, to all of you who suffered serious injuries this season, shout out to you for staying positive and working hard to get healthy despite struggling through some difficult times. Tatsu and Matt LG for volunteering their time, week in, week out, live streaming our home games. And most importantly, to all of you, the students and faculty who were regularly attending all of our home games, which brought a lot of life to the Pat Burns Arena. Truly meant a lot to be walking down the hall after games and see so many kids high-fiving their friends and whatnot. I think that's what makes boarding school so special, so thanks to all of you. Now, the 2019-20 season was certainly a busy one. A total of 4 hockey teams and 93 student athletes represented Stanstead College in places like Michigan, Minnesota, Washington, Boston, and Lake Placid. Our thirds team took a huge step forward, playing a half season in a new and challenging league. And I'd argue that our prep boys, varsity boys, and girls teams played their most challenging schedules of all time. On the home front, the Pat Burns Arena School hosted the Varsity Boys Showcase event in November, as well as the Neil Tournament and Napa Playoffs in February. All in all, a total of 85 games were played at home this year, 55 being regular season home games, and 30 being Showcase Tournament games. None of this would have been possible without the incredible work of so many of you in this room tonight. Now, speaking of number of games, let's just say this year some were won and some were lost. Hopefully life lessons were learned, for sport teaches us so much more than the outcome of a specific game. These lessons are what will stay with you as you grow older. Indeed, all teams had their own levels of success, but all is relative, and having enjoyed the journey together with your teammates and taken away positive memories is really what playing on a prep school team should be all about. It's been another successful and positive season. However, how you choose to embrace your own reality as an individual playing on a team game is really up to you. I hope you can take away some sort of positive memory from your own experience. Now, it gives me great pleasure to welcome our next speaker tonight, Mr. Charest. You can clap. However, before he comes up and begins speaking, I'd like to present him with a little gift for his efforts and time spent coaching hockey at Stanstead College over the past 6 years. As you may or may not know, this will be Mr. Charest's last year here, and yesterday was his last ever game behind the Spartan bench. He made that crystal clear during his second intermission speech, talking to the young Spartans, asking if they would dig deep for him. And indeed they did. They gave everything they had. Mr. Charest. The gift is a framed copy of yesterday's game sheet. So, Mr. Charest.
Well, we lost. That's okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Wow. So, now I need to speak. Good evening, everybody. Bonsoir. Bonsoir à tous et à toutes. Thirds hockey speech for the 2019-2020 season. Wow, I have to say that it was a transition season in many aspects. First, the name. Thirds hockey. Not Bantam anymore. After moving from intramurals to Bantam, this year we moved from Bantam to Thirds. What a difficult name to pronounce for a Frenchy coach like me. I'm pretty sure Mr. Ryu did it on purpose. Just to make me practice all those difficult English sounds, namely the difficult TH. Thirds hockey. You better pronounce it well. Otherwise. So thank you, Mr. Ryu, for this thread and for everything you did for the Thirds hockey this season. Transition to a new locker room. Wow, a real beauty. You have to take a look at the new room, which is a great plus for our team. Special thanks to the maintenance guys who did such a good job. And to Mr. Marc Parent and all the arena staff. Transition to a new competitive league, composed of strong teams from the Montreal area who gave us a huge challenge. Our stats in this trial season are definitely not in our favor. 10 games, 0 wins, and 10 losses, but 1 in overtime. That's the best we did against them. But we were close. We were close, and we had a good game that day. As we repeat to our players all season, and here thanks to Mr. Brandon Varro for his coaching and commitment through all the season. Thank you, Mr. Varro. Like we did repeat, it is through adversity that you can evaluate the real value of each and every player and ultimately of a team. And we have to admit that one of the big challenges we had this year was to play as a team, right? So, on the other end, in our exhibition games, we had a much better result. With 9 games, we won 7 and lost 2. So, for a total of 19 games, 7 wins, 20 losses. It was a tough season for our 20 players, and I want to thank all of them. So thanks to our 12 senior players who made us better. Captain Nicolas Pokora, assistant. David Blais, Kazuaku Peasley, Max Boehm, who left us too early. The twins Leo and Kevin Shee, the 2 other Kevins, Kevin Meng and Kevin Hu. Thanks to Logan Bayas, Joseph Riddle, Charles Goudreau, and Lex Johansson. You will not receive an award tonight, guys. You're too old, I'm so sorry. But you surely deserve an honorable mention for your support this season. Good job. Good job, guys. And thanks to our 8 juniors in Bantam, so we have Presley Langevin, Trofim Godoshkin, Luca La Liberté, William Towner, Juan Pablo Sanchez, Christopher Leclerc, yeah, the Mexican section, Christopher Leclerc, and our goalies, Big Lana Peasley and Big Howard Goo. I think together they make about 165 pounds, and we were playing players that big. So it's a good season. I hope that this experience, even if it was very demanding and difficult, will remain a good sport and life lesson for all of you, and I hope that you have learned something out of all of this. I will now invite, and thanks again, Mr. Brendan Varro, to present our awards for tonight. Mr.
First and foremost, we have our Sportsmanship Award. With 19 games, 10 losses, Lana Peasley was always in net for us, always happy, always smiling, no matter what happened in front of her. She stood there, she did what it took, and we hope she's back again next year. So Sportsmanship goes to Lana Peasley, and to come up with her for a Bantam S, William Towner. Probably one of the most easy to coach kids on the team, gives 100% every game. Congratulations, you two. We couldn't have done the year without you. And then we have one more award to give out, a Junior S, to a player who's played with us last year. He's always been an all-star. He works hard. He's had a positive attitude. He's really made changes from last year. He smiles. He's supportive of all his teammates. We'd like to thank Presley Langevin.
Speaking for junior boys basketball and also the staff prefect basketball MVP, Mr. Winquist.
Good evening. This summer, I was on the phone with Mr. Van Dyke, and I said, sure, I'll coach next year, but I have one request. I need an assistant coach. And boy, he did not disappoint. He recruited from Team Jamaica and Concordia Basketball, Coach Lamont. She was a huge addition to the team. Coach helped us with our intensity, our offense, and defense because of her knowledge of the overall game of basketball. I learned a lot about her, not only about basketball, but about intensity and fighting through adversity. So lacrosse team, get ready. And most important, the players learned a lot from her as well. So thank you, Coach, for all that you did this year. Of course, big thank you to Alta, Mr. Van Dyke, Mrs. Wolf. So this season was about progress. Our core returning players were 1 year older, 1 year stronger, and 1 year more experienced. Perfect example, I saw Baron and he grew 5 inches. Boy, was I excited. And we also had welcomed additions to the team. So the RSCQ put in a new participation rule. So that meant every player who dresses needs to play a minimum of 8 minutes. So that meant every player who was on the team had to have an impact on the game. Everyone had to be better, and the boys responded. We had a great start to the season, but we had a tough weekend at the BCS tournament, losing all of our games, then ending our undefeated season the next day. So it was a tough weekend, but we learned a lot and eventually made us stronger. In the end, we won the regular season with a record of 10-2. We almost won the ethical banner until a technical in the last game cost it for us. We had the best defense in the league, but the sweetest of all was avenging our most recent loss to Malcam in the finals and winning the championship. There it is. Thank you. Thank you. I'm proud of the guys. You worked hard and you guys improved tons. You guys never complained and you responded to every challenge. I was so lucky to have coached 3 of my advisees, Trevor, Chaz, David, and it was an absolute pleasure to coach all of you. All of you brought something to the team. Thank you for the great season. You guys are all true Spartans. Now Coach Lamont will name the award winners. Thank you, everyone.
So each of the 15 players on our team brings something special. But we believe that these 4 players made a great impact. We will award 3 junior S's and 1 sportsmanship award. All 4 boys will come up at the end. The first junior S will be awarded to the Draymond Green of our team. This second-year forward is a defensive staple who never loses intensity in practice or in games. He's a high-impact player whose presence never goes unnoticed. He's a leader both on and off the court. The junior S is awarded to our captain, Baron Lovejoy. Our second junior S recipient is also our most improved player. He's very coachable and is always positive and willing to help his team in whatever way he can. This second-year center contributes on both ends of the court and came up big when the team needed him the most. The junior S is awarded to our shot blocker, or rebounding king, Justin Bouchard. The final Junior S award will be presented to one of our most talented guards. This first-year player has very good vision on court and is able to create plays that puts his teammates in good situations to be successful. He's a very selfless player and a student of the game. The Junior S is awarded to Asher Dixon Bowles. The Sportsmanship Award will be presented to a player who always gives 100% when he's on the court and stays engaged on the bench. Despite not knowing a lot about the game, he's always willing to give his greatest effort, especially on defense. He's relentless and aggressive, qualities that makes me happy. The Sportsmanship Award goes to Mauricio Lopez. Will all 4 boys come up?
Our next program to be recognized, Prep Boys Hockey, Mr. Ryu.
I'd like to start by thanking my co-coaches, Logan, Vanas, and Guy Willette. Over the last 5 years, we've become pretty close, pretty tight, been through a lot together, and it's just an absolute blast to be able to spend every day at the rink with you guys. So thanks for everything you've done, fellas. I'd like to also thank our leadership group, team captain Andrew Bouchard, Jamie George, and Evan Gass, our alternate captains. They've done a great job being the links between the players and the coaches this year. They're all around terrific people, and they've really represented the team and themselves very, very well. So thanks to you three. Okay, some numbers. Season overview. We currently sit with a record of 26, 16, 1-4, 47 games played. 14, 7, and 3 in our league, putting us in third place. At this very moment last year, we had 44 points in third place, and this year we're standing at 38 points in third place, so a lot of consistency. Our power play has been pretty lethal, sitting at 33.5%, and our penalty kill at 84%, so the numbers have been pretty positive. A few season highlights: trip to Michigan, Northwood School Tournament semi-finalists against Séminaire Saint-Joseph, and eventual third place in Lake Placid. A strong performance in our own annual Neil tournament, falling just short against John Rennie in overtime with 9 seconds left. Numerous trips to Montreal and time spent on the bus for all our league games. But more importantly, just the day-to-day. Every day we've spent together in practice, on and off the ice, has been fun. We often had 25, 28 players on ice for practice, and I can honestly say that our group worked incredibly hard, day in and day out, to get better. This group competed consistently and pushed each other to progress. This group often held each other accountable, and of course, there were numerous ups and downs. It certainly isn't perfect, but that's all part of the journey. It was a real pleasure coming to the rink every day, knowing that we would have fun in practice and get the best out of every boy. On behalf of the entire coaching staff, fellas, we thank you for your efforts, your commitment to your team, your school, and to each other. It's been awesome. Now, our league playoffs begin on March 28th and end on April 5th. We're not done. We still have 2 weekends left of hockey. And I think everyone who's seen our team play knows that we really have all the tools to be successful if we work together. And we as a coaching staff look forward to seeing what we can accomplish together when it all matters most, when everything's on the line. Now for the awards. Please do as others have done and wait and come up together at the end. We're awarding 6 seniors tonight for consistency, for effort, and for performance. The first goes to Evan Gass, played 45 of 47 games, currently has a 23, 25, and 49 line. The second is Marc-Antoine Ducharme, played all 47 of 47 games, 14 Genos, 40 apples, and a 54 line. The third goes to the Japanese Rocket, maybe the fastest kid in the school, played 45 of 47 games, 22 goals, 23 assists, 55 points overall, 3 penalty shot goals. He scored on every one, and he's in lethal threat every time we're on the PK. I think he's got 6 shorthanded goals, and the rest of the team has none. The fourth goes to, admittedly, a real head-scratcher. Admittedly, not an easy kid to coach, but a kid who never lost any respect for his coaches. Still has a lot to learn, but I'm not sure where this team would be without him. Played in 46 of 47 games, 20 goals, 45 assists, 65 points. Leads our league in points and leads our team in points. He's talented, and if he figures it all out, he'll keep playing for a while. The fifth goes to a guy who, I like everybody understand, was a fourth line guy last year. Was not always happy. sometimes at best on the third line. He's played in all 47 games this year. He's 2 shy of 40, scored 38 goals, 24 assists, 62 points, second scorer on our team. He's been able to put up some big-time goals, too, on his own with his lethal wrist shot. He also has half of his goals on the power play. He also is destined to continuing this if he continues to get better. And the 6th and final Senior S goes to a kid who played 26 of 47 games with a record of 14, 10, and 1, a 908 save percentage, 2.45 goals against, 3 shutouts. He's big. He's held us in games. I challenged him last week in a private conversation to take his game to another level. I think he's got it in him. I think he's been real good, but I think he's got a whole other gear that he can get to. That's Xavier Fisk. Now, the Prep Boys Sportsmanship Trophy is awarded to a young first-year player who is simply completely dialed in. He's eternally positive, a model teammate, genuinely accepting of every situation, and is a real glue guy in the room. Plus, he's improved his on-ice game by leaps and bounds throughout the season. And that'd be Hayden Pym. So I apologize. Senior S's go to Evan, Marc-Antoine Ducharme, the Japanese rocket Rahito Hamano, the Greek god Pana Ephraimidas, Ryan Johnson, and Xavier Fisk.
Our next program to be recognized is the first program of the night that can give out Major S awards. And a reminder, we do recognize Major S winners with a standing ovation. Speaking proudly for the squash team, Monsieur Prévost.
Like Mr. Charest says, bonsoir. Students and colleagues, first of all, I would like to thank all the people who were involved in making the squash season successful. Mrs. Hamilton, who was by my side, Mr. Van Dyke, Miss Perron, Miss Castonguay, and obviously Miss Sheldon for her daily presence. We started the season with 1 girl and 17 boys, 4 of which were returning players. We welcome new students who had different levels of skills in racket sports, although squash was new to them. This year, our top players participated in 4 competitions against BCS and in 1 provincial tournament. These players were Matthew Little, who managed to be our best player, Diego Riverol, quick and very smart learner. Mika Olivieri, a terminator with a devastating drive shot. Patricio Gutierrez, a complete athlete who likes squash as much as watching the volleyball girls practicing their drills. And Jackie Chan, now a veteran with good skills on our team. Last but not least, please. That wasn't my team this year. Crystal Lynn was the only girl on the team. She was a quiet presence throughout the season. She showed lots of patience with the boys and was really a pleasure to coach. Thank you, Crystal, for being with us. That said, the squash team is more than a group of selected people participating in tournaments. It also includes a larger group of recreational players. We remember Marc-Antoine Maillot and Joël Chawichou, who loved the game so much that they chose it as a winter sport for a second year in a row. Nikita Grinko, a quiet fellow always showing a smile on his face. Jason Chow, who spent lots of time on the courts even after practice. Hector Vasquez and Rodrigo Aceves. They were so competitive that they both ended up at the health center. Rodrigo after running in the wall during a tournament, and Hector after breaking his nose with his own racket. We will not forget Matteo Alba, Memo Santillan, and William Urrutia, who played squash with a real pleasure, showing amazing friendship. Adley Forbes and Jack Lipman, who showed a real passion for the game as the season progressed. They were also very important on the team. Sincerely, I would very much like to thank and commend you all. We had a great season together. Miss Hamilton and I enjoyed the time being your coaches. You were a loud group, not always easy to manage, but in the end, you brought a lot of spirit to our practices. It's now time to give the awards to the deserving students. This year, we will give 4 of them, the Sportsmanship Award and 3 S's. I would invite Ms. Hamilton to give the prize. Ms. Hamilton, thank you.
It is no surprise that the first 2 Senior S awards go to our number 1 and 2 throughout the year, Matthew LG and Diego Rivero. Matthew came in with the skills, but also developed into a great leader as the season progressed. He never turned down an opportunity to play with someone who wanted to learn from him and improve their skills, even if it meant staying after practice. Diego was the surprise of the season. Mr. Prevost had judged him a 10-seeded player at the beginning of the season, and instead of being a 10-seeded player, he climbed quickly the ladder and stayed right behind Matt throughout the season. Do not be fooled by his demeanor and stature. Diego could rattle any competitor from BCS, and they would call him the little punk due to his ability to do crazy shots like it was no big deal. Our third Senior S goes to a player who has consistently searched to improve not only his squash, but his Italian. Not only was he a very skillful player, but he was always respectful, positive, and ready to play, especially when he had a certain visitor in the stand. Third Senior S goes to Emilio Acuna. Finally, we have the Sportsmanship Award. When this player tried out to join the team, he could not hit the ball. When he did hit the ball would not reach the wall. Mr. Prevost and I were quite relieved when he first suggested that he would go try for the basketball team, and then very concerned when he came back to us since he sucked more at basketball than squash. The following week, we were actually shocked to see a different player in front of us. What had happened? He told us that he had spent the entire weekend practicing with his friends so he could make the team. He kept his attitude the entire season, reaching as high as number 8 on the ladder. Always positive, always cheering for his teammates, always going for the ball even when there's a wall in front of him. Sportsmanship winner, Rodrigo Aceves. Guys, come on.
The next program to be recognized is Volleyball, Miss Garrett.
Hi, everyone. First and foremost, thank you to Mr. Van Dyke, Mrs. Wolf, Alta. I love you, and I promise I'll return the jersey at some point this year. Bear with me. I'm for sure a crier. It's just my nature. So I try to. My dad's a coach, and he's a crier as well, and so at the end of his seasons, he always writes poems, so I followed that. And the point is to kind of keep it simple and not too deep, but I will probably still cry. So here we go. Only being able to hand out a few awards tonight caused an internal struggle in our hearts and in our heads a fight. So we created our own paper plates of recognition. Explaining them to all of you right now is our mission. Our season started out like a bumpy flight. Little did we know, we would all end up super tight. We didn't see a win before Christmas time. We were having soft practices that started to cross a line. You all made a decision in the mid-season to play with purpose, and if not, it would be considered treason. From there out, winning became our new look, it seemed, even beating the much-hyped game with the girls' volleyball team. A season to remember with people that eventually became a tribe. Let's talk about each one and send them the best vibes. First, Lily, an athlete from Down Under. Her incredible ballet moves on the court leave you pleasantly bewildered. Next up, Lorelai, Lily's good pal. She had enormous moments in pressured games, and it was like a fairy tale. Nicole's focus and hard work was unmatched. She was consistently a rock when the team hit a rough patch. Ariella won the Pure Love of the Game award. Our team was never louder than when she scored. Victoria made time every day. I cry all the time, sorry. Victoria made time every day for a hug and the warmest smile. Your soul's beautiful, and for you would walk a mile. Valentina can always be counted on for a laugh and her humor. It was in these moments that we blended even us old boomers. Alexa has been the most positive tude. Whether you were happy or sad, she would put you in a good mood. And we wish this was a school award and not just a paper plate. Sophia, you win the most improved player. You are the best teammate. Fiz, Amy, and Ava, you guys are the best humans around. We all come from faraway places, but I'm so happy that you guys were found. Okay, now we're on to our actual awards. So you guys have paper plates awards to collect at the end. Sportsmanship award goes to somebody everybody can call a friend. Fernanda, you were one of the reasons our team was able to blend. Our first Senior S goes to somebody that took a chance this year. Joe, your serious dedication and growth to this game could bring a tear. Our second Senior S goes to our coach on the court. As a returning player, she had a deep understanding of the sport. Ari, we love you, and you're already missed. I'm so sorry, guys. Come back and visit. Please, come back and visit next year. Please put it on your list. Our last Senior S goes to an enormously talented player named Vicky. She had some major health issues this season that made it a little tricky. She came back stronger than ever, and we can honestly say that you make all of us better. So we do that? Okay, come on up, guys. Okay, so last, the major S goes to the gal who scored the most points this season, has an unconventional serve that nobody can stop, the ability to elevate any game she plays in. You've been a part of Stanstead for years, and you feel like it's hard to say goodbye to you. Val, wherever you go in life, you'll forever be our gal. I'm proud to be all of your guys' coach. I love you forever. Thank you.
Representing the curling team, Mr. Planeta.
Tough acts to follow, my goodness. Retiring coaches and poetry. Next year I'm going first. Thank you, Mr. Van Dyke, for your support all season. I appreciate it. And thank you, the curling team, for your time and dedication during the long, cold winter. I'm so proud of the accomplishments that you achieved, and you should be proud of yourselves. I was thinking the other day about our first week at curling, where everyone is trying to get used to the ice, and people are trying to throw stones down a sheet of ice. These stones, they're 44 pounds. They're a little bit bigger than Xavier Gann over there. And they're trying to get them down the ice. And then suddenly everyone was going too far down the ice. Suddenly everyone had this super strength, and they're going right through the house at the far end. So there's that period of adjustment at the beginning of the year. But nevertheless, you did it. A little bit of trial and error. You learned the game. And by the end of it, we were on cruise control over there. I hope you had as much fun this season as I did. It was a real treat coaching you, and I look forward to it every single day. I do want to mention that we're in an amazingly competitive league. We play a lot of local, larger high schools, and those schools are made up of local kids, and they are used to the game, and they've played for years, and their parents play, and their aunts and uncles curl, and they came to watch the games. But our last game of the season was against Galt, and Galt won the league, and they won the playoffs, and Galt... we'd never beaten Galt, but our last game of the season was against Galt, and Galt was up 4-1 at the half. And I was like, not really how I wanted to end the season. But nevertheless, Roy went out, and his takeout gave us 3 points in the next end. Suddenly it was a 4-4 tie. That gave Galt the hammer. They got 1 to make it 5-4. Then we had the hammer in the last end coming home, and we tied it 5-5. So we sent it into an extra end. We played a full extra end, but Galt had the last shot in the last end. They had the hammer. So the ice was getting a little bit slicker down the middle, down that slide path, and neither team was getting used to it. We ended up with one behind some guards on the right-hand side, but the left side was wide open. And we were trying to guard that opening, and we would guard, and it would slide on through. Then they would try and go through to get to the 4-foot circle, and they would slide on through. We would try and guard again, and we slid through, and then they had the last shot, and it slid through for a 6-5 win in overtime against Galt. I still can't believe that we did that. And as soon as the game ended, shake hands, and the other team's packing up, and they said, "Sir, can we get a photo?" And I said, sure. So they waited quietly and put the score away. The lights are off, We're sitting there waiting. The other team, thanks, good to see you. And they all left. And then I turn around, and they're putting everything back the way it was. They're resetting the score. The lights are back on, and they're out there taking a photo with the scoreboard. It was so classy and at the same time adorable. So it was really nice to see. That put us into a first-round playoff matchup with Richmond. Richmond, another local school, the kids curl, their parents curl, and we battled them into overtime. And this time, though, they were sitting one behind a mess of guards, and we were doing what we could to get at it. And then Roy made this beauty tick shot to roll across the button and stop about that far too far. It was about an inch, maybe 2 inches too far. They only had one shot left. If that had stuck that much closer, we would have been in the finals against Galt, who we had just beaten a week earlier. But, you hear of a game of inches, that was a game of inch that day. It was hard to believe. But once again, we were forcing local quality teams into overtime to beat us. So I was just amazingly proud. And I don't know what you're planning on doing with your future, but I encourage you all to seek out a curling club in your future. If you enjoy the game, you have the skill set, and you certainly know the game well enough to be a regular curler, so I encourage you all to do that. I have a few awards that I want to give up, and we'll get you all to come up together. First of all, an absolute friendly face. She elevated her game completely this year, and I feel genuinely that instructing someone else and teaching someone else or tutoring someone else kind of brings your game up to the next level. And that's exactly what she was doing this year. She was encouraging her teammates, working with all those new players with some positive energy. The Sportsmanship Award is going to go to Laura Tang. Next up, I wrote underrated first, and then I also wrote indispensable. She does not realize how good a curler she really is. She reads the ice so well. I know the ice looks like a flat sheet to most of us and to most curlers, but to her, she was seeing how quickly the stone was moving in different places, how it was curling in different places, and we should get her, she should get into topography, really, because it looked like a flat surface, but she could see which ways were curling and which ways weren't. It was excellent to see. I have a Senior S award for our lead, Alicia Wang. A critical member of our team. We relied on him for a variety of shots for the whole season. Sometimes we needed guards, sometimes we needed takeouts, sometimes we needed draws, hit and roll, freeze. We were lucky to have him. I have a Senior S award to our second, Thomas Liao. I genuinely don't know where we would be without these last two. When you hear about people like Michael Jordan and Sidney Crosby and Brad Gushue and those top athletes, and you hear about them being the first ones there and the last ones to leave, that is literally what these two, they were in the first minivan to get over there, they were the first ones on the ice, and then once the scrimmage was over, sir, can we throw a few more stones, can we go back, can we be the last ones in the van, we'll go back with you after I lock up the building. And we were lucky to have them for the season. They led by example, and this first girl, a total love of the game. I can't believe how much she embraced the game of curling. She was tutoring new players on how to play. She took ownership of the team, and I'm trying to figure out if ownership is the kind of thing that you can coach or teach, or if ownership comes naturally, but she had a real ownership for the team. The rising tide that lifts all boats, the Senior S award to our third, my assistant coach, Annie Tang. And a quality that I appreciate in people, like when I hear about Neil Armstrong, for example, I'm always amazed how cool he was under pressure. The guy's landing a spacecraft on the moon, and yet his heart rate didn't go over 72. And this quiet confidence is what I've seen in Roy this year. He's totally cool under pressure. He was our skip. He had to throw the last two stones, no matter what happened before him. No matter all the other stones that were played in that end, he gets to throw the last two. Very smart guy with a good head on his shoulders. I have a Senior S award to our skip, Roy Liu. I enjoyed working with each and every one of you this season. You've succeeded more than I could have imagined. Thank you for all your dedication again this winter. Please come up for an award. Is there a tip back?
The next program to be recognized is the first program of the night that, along with Major S Awards, also awards an MVP trophy. Speaking for the swim team, Mr. Belknap Keat.
So today is a very special day. It's Oscar Haas's birthday, so if you see him, wish him happy birthday. Happy birthday, Oscar. All right, I'd like to ask you all to do something for me for just a second, okay? I just want you to imagine what the perfect swim team would be. Okay, just take a second and just imagine the ideal swim team. All right. Now, I'm willing to bet you didn't picture a 65-pound boy who's never dove into a pool before. You probably didn't picture 2 winners of the science fair. You didn't picture Oscar. Okay, enough for Oscar. My point being, and it's not really his birthday either, by the way. My point being, this is exactly the team that I picture, okay? This is a team that has made it very fun this year. Those are the people that I picture. Most of you know me as a numbers guy, okay? So I'm just gonna share a few stats with you. First off, we have less people on our swim team than there are bantam girls on the Massivani swim team. Okay, now think of that for a moment. Every single swimmer on our team would go to race, okay, and they would do a minimum of 4 races every single time we went. Most players, most swimmers, wouldn't do more than 2. Okay, keep that in mind. Some of our swimmers would do as many as 6, and they would still win. Every single one of our players, of our swimmers, I keep saying players for some reason, every single one of our swimmers has taken a first place at some point during the year. That's incredible. Every single one of our swimmers brought home ribbons during the finals. Our team scored, on average, 29 points per swimmer during the finals. That is more than double what the winning team did, which was gold. We have an amazing team, and I was very, very proud of all of them this year. Before moving on to present the awards, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Thomas Peasley for being a great coach this season. To everyone that makes the swim team possible, you all know who you are. To the timers who miss classes and sports commitments to come with us. And finally to Keita, Karen, Oscar, Alexi, Greg, Jacob, Anki, Gabriel, Claudie, Elizabeth, Georgia, and Ren. First off, for being a great team, and more importantly, for not drowning. To those of you on the junior team, I hope to have you back next year. To those of you graduating, you will be missed. And for anyone that's thinking of, anyone that's got to do a science fair next year, you might consider joining the team. Now, I can't guarantee you that you're going to win the science fair, but it worked for Anki and for Elizabeth, so you might think about it. All right, on to the awards. For a very small team of only 12, we have a lot of awards to give out. We're giving out 7 awards tonight. For someone who's never dove into a pool, this young man surprised everyone when swimming against competitors twice his size. He glided past them with ease, earning a first and 3 second-place ribbons during the finals. Ren Nakamura, please come up to receive your Bantam S. New to the team this year, this young woman quickly learned a very difficult stroke and began flying by the competition in the 50 and 100 meter butterfly races. With a first and 5 second place ribbons during the finals, a junior S goes to Georgia Bailey. I have seldom seen someone work as hard while being as good-humored as our Sportsmanship Award winner. She's often heard by the side of the pool, encouraging not only her teammates, but members of the opposing teams. We could all learn from this young woman. The Sportsmanship Award goes to Elizabeth Godbout. Please come up. The next two students have been on the team longer than myself. Karen has been a consistently hardworking team member who has shown improvement throughout the entire time I've known her. She earned 2 first and 2 second place ribbons during the finals. Oscar has been a great help to me and Mr. Peasley, often leading warm-ups and providing suggestions to help vary our training routines. He earned an impressive 6 ribbons, including 2 first place ribbons during the finals. Congratulations to the two of you. You each receive a Senior S. This final award winner has been ahead of the game all year. Finishing races so far ahead of the competition, he could have left the pool and dried off before the others got to the end. Keita has been nothing but humble in his success. He earned 6 ribbons for the team during the finals, 3 first and 3 second place, totaling 51 points. The MVP trophy and a major S go to Keita Oki.
Now, speaking for the senior boys basketball team, Mr. Liverpool.
Just first and foremost, before I get started, I'd just like to thank my assistant coach, Mr. Alex Watling. Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure working with you. So this season, like many before it, was filled with ups and downs, triumphs and challenges, wins and losses. With a solid core of returning players from last year's team and a few new additions, expectations were fairly high. We started this season not really knowing what type of competition we would encounter. However, even though our first game of the season ended up being a loss on the scoreboard, we quickly realized that we had improvements that we could and indeed would make. It was clear that we were a good team with a great deal of what I like to call that dreaded word, potential. Did we reach this aforementioned potential? Perhaps, in glimpses. I say glimpses because as a team we just couldn't seem to quite put it all together on a consistent basis. I liken this team sort of to Jekyll and Hyde. I just never knew which one was going to show up. For example, one day we take to the court at the annual CASE tournament and lose 2 games to teams that we really had no business losing to. The next day, at the very same tournament, we win 3 straight against quality opponents and take home the Division III banner. Unfortunately, it was this lack of consistency and mental fortitude that plagued us for much of the season. League play was no different for us. We managed to beat a team by a score of 71-54, only to turn around and lose to that very same team a few weeks later. Long story short, we were a talented team that too often struggled with consistency issues. Due to unforeseen circumstances, our regular season league games unfortunately did not count toward the league standings and/or playoff participation. So thus, our goal for the season was to play each game to get better and gain valuable in-game experience. Our goal was to use these games to prepare for the biggest tournament of our season, the one that means the most to us as a small school, the Anderson Provincial Small Schools Tournament, The very same tournament that we won last year right here in our very own gym. This year, the tournament was held in Quebec City. After a few round-robin games and a very tight semifinal game, we found ourselves in the championship final for the second year in a row. Sadly, we came up just a little bit short of bringing home another banner, but our effort was solid, and as a coach, I was very proud of what we were able to accomplish. All that was left of our season now was a trip to the Visser Provincial Tournament hosted by Centennial Regional High School. While our results of 1 win and 2 losses clearly isn't all that impressive, as a coach, once again, I was extremely happy with how we played as a team. To return to the start of the season, just for a second, we had designed warm-up tops. And those warm-up tops read, "Less me, more team." Now, we weren't perfect in this respect, but I think we managed to improve significantly in this area as the season drew to a close. I am proud of this team and its accomplishments. And to each of you, especially you graduating seniors, Andre, Yoshi, Benjamin, Charles, Tyler, and Bonham, thank you for your hard work, dedication, and commitment to this team. I wish you all the best of luck in all of your future endeavors on and off the court. To the rest of you guys, I was going to say 100 jumpers a day every day this summer, but someone told me I should say 500. So 500 jumpers a day, please, this summer, and we'll see you next season. Senior boys basketball team has 4 awards, well, 5 awards, but 4 people. The first award is a Senior S. If given just one word to describe this year's only Major S award winner for the senior boys basketball team, it would be athletic. By no means is basketball this young man's sport of choice, but his work ethic, intelligence, and willingness to take instruction and positive criticism made him an integral part of this year's team. An excellent soccer player, this young man used many of his skills acquired on the pitch to excel on the court. A dominant rebounder, an unselfish passer and playmaker, and an ever-improving defender. This young man has come a long way from tryouts in early November. I look forward to seeing just how far this young man will progress over the summer and into next season. For his hard work, dedication, and team play, a Senior S is awarded to George Correa. The next award to be presented is the Sportsmanship Award. While there are several players deserving of the Sportsmanship Award, I'm guessing that it will come as very little surprise when this young man's name is called at the conclusion of this speech. This young man was a polite, friendly, mature beyond his years, and supportive. He arrived early for every practice and worked as hard as he could until practice was over. And of course, there was the thank you and the hearty handshake for his coaches upon the completion of every practice. Something that I will probably not forget for a very long time. This young man never had a bad word to say about anyone, and it is for this and much more that this year's Sportsmanship Award is awarded to Tyler Carruthers. You guys can come on up and get your award. Come on up, guys. The next award is a Major S award. From time to time, as a coach, you get surprises. You hear about a kid that's coming to the school and he plays basketball and he's uber talented. Well, of course, you get a little excited. At least I do, as a coach. However, rarely does a situation like this come to fruition. That is to say that there are often more misses than swishes. In the case of this young man, fruition was achieved, as he was everything that a coach could ask for. He is intelligent, he is skilled, and most of all, he is unselfish. My only regret is that I don't get a chance to, or the opportunity, I guess, to coach him for at least another year, if not a couple more years. It's extremely rare to find a player that makes all the right decisions all the time. I think that's called perfection. Now, while this young man was not perfect, he might have been as close as I have witnessed in my coaching career. For these reasons, a major S is awarded to Benjamin Koo. The final award for the evening for the senior boys basketball is the MVP award, and this recipient is also receiving a major S. The next and final award of the evening is the senior boys basketball team is the MVP award. The gentleman that will be receiving this award tonight will also be receiving a major S award. I use the word gentleman because this recipient is in fact a true gentleman in every sense of the word. Not only is he an excellent basketball player, but he is mature, respectful, and a true leader. This young man is a first-year player here at Stanstead, and yet he was unanimous decision to be named team captain. A role in which he excelled even during difficult times. This young man is the type of player and person that any coach would welcome with open arms. I am very pleased to have had the opportunity to work with this young man this season, and I am already looking forward to taking things to the next level next season. For his dedication, leadership, and commitment to this team, a major S and the MVP award are given to or bestowed upon Mr. Ben Chadwick. Negative in the middle for you.
The next program to be recognized, Varsity Boys Hockey. Mr. Thompson.
I'm going to start off with our awards. I'm going to call a group of 5. You all come together once I've described everyone. So first Sportsmanship Award goes to Drew Sommers. Spent a lot of the year hurt, and as a post-grad that can obviously be very difficult, but kept a positive attitude, was a great teammate the whole way through. And then we have 4 senior S's. And they should be presented as a group because they've all grown within our school and within the hockey program. All 4 of them played on the prep team and now have placed on the varsity team. So that's Bodie Nodes, Jeremy Gagnon, Matt Johnson, and BJ Roy. You know, Bodie has feet that can make you dizzy. When you watch him on the ice, his offensive game is obviously pretty electric. A key moment for him during the season is scoring that winning goal at TCS, which was pretty special in a number of different reasons. Next one, Jeremy Gagnon, one half of the 1327 first PK unit. Type of kid that you just want to throw over the boards any and all times. Uses his brain really, really, really well, despite what BJ says about him. He's pretty smart. Next guy is Matt Johnson. Tons of speed, good shot. And maybe the most impressive thing about Matt, or maybe the least impressive thing about Matt, is that he really doesn't know how good he is. So he's got a lot of learning to do, but he's spent a great 3 years with us. And last but not least, hometown boy, started in border minor hockey and all the way through. I think he was a healthy scratch the second game of the year and forced his way to stay in the lineup the whole rest of the way. Coach P used a phrase that he made a believer out of us, and that's BJ Roy. You can come up. We have 4 major S's. The first young man isn't here to receive his major S tonight because he's unfortunately sick and in the House Center, but that goes to Ryan Hopkins. He's a kid, but he plays like a veteran, plays a very difficult position at an exceptional level. And really part of what makes him so special is that he'll never tell you how special he is. So that would be a major S to Ryan Hopkins. Second major S goes to a very talented center with a great shot, 1/3 of our big-time offensive line, very cerebral, always willing to work. At times his own worst enemy, but as many people who see him play, truly has the potential to be a very good player in the future and potentially a pro hockey player. Major S, Phil Jacques. Second major S goes to an extremely skilled forward, and really what separates him, and I explained this, we were talking about this on the bench the other day, I think. What separates him from other very skilled players is where he's skilled. So Sean pretty much like gets right on the defenseman's shoulder before he makes a play. So the D-man's like, I got him just where he wants him. In the back of Sean's head, he's going, I got him just where I want him. Major S, Sean Mahoney. The final person to be recognized individually is our major S winner, as well as the winner of the Dawes Trophy for sportsmanship and excellence in hockey. He finished the season with almost 90 points. And the best thing about Devin is that when you first describe him as a hockey player, you don't even talk about his offensive ability because he's a tenacious worker. He's the hardest working, skilled hockey player that I've ever seen. He leads through example. He makes everyone around him better. And he shows everyone else exactly the type of effort that they need to bring every single day. So major S and MVP trophy to Devin DeVries. So on Friday, one of our players came up to me after our game. He said, and I quote, "I let you down, coach." And I want to use this 2 minutes to let him and everyone else on our team know that nothing could be further from the truth. Hockey's emotional, and often our emotions are dictated by the end result of the game, a win or a loss. In this case, a very difficult loss against Ridley in the national championships. But for the 6th consecutive season, we won 30 games. This year playing an extremely difficult independent schedule, and it made us better through every win and through every loss. Along the way, there were moments that when we reflect in the future will mean so much more to both you and to me. At the time, sometimes these moments, they seem insignificant. Sometimes you don't even notice that they happen. But as time passes, they will come into focus. I want you all to look at the pictures from TCS, look at the pictures from our tournament win at Albany Academy, look at your faces, look at the happiness, look at the smiles, and most importantly, look at the fact that all 24 of you are united with that same smile on your face. And I think that's really, really, really important. I want you to think about Friday morning at St. Michael's College School. Most likely the best atmosphere I have ever played or coached in. Think of the sense of team you had playing against literally an entire school. It was a lot of fun, and I wish I could convey the emotion that was in that old historic arena. But in a world where we are constantly trying to be connected without always being present, that is a moment that the 24 of you will get to share as a team. Sometimes to truly feel something, you have to just be there. This is something we should all think about the next time a friend asks us to go somewhere or to go do something. Don't miss out on your moment. The end result was not what we set out to accomplish, but you didn't let us down. We traveled the Northeast and beyond. We learned, we struggled, we smiled, and so much more. We played the best competition each and every day, and you are more prepared for what is next than you were in September, and as an educator, I call this success. Take some time over the break to think about small moments that will stand out for you. A goal, a save, a hit, Coach P's 200th win at Stanstead, a meal with your teammates, or that time that you gave up your shift so that Connor could and did score in his last hockey game ever. That is the true definition of a team, and that makes me proud. And just so everyone knows, Connor's goal was really, really, really nice. Backhand, bar down from above the hash marks. Connor, you deserve this moment, big time, for everything that you've been through over the last 2 years. You've obviously dealt with some significant injuries. And I'll try and paint a picture very, very briefly, ad-libbing this. Connor's mom was right across in the stands from our bench. So being able to see Connor put the puck in the net, seeing his reaction, seeing our team's reaction, as well as seeing Connor's mom jump up in the air, that's why we do this job. So to conclude, remind your friends about these moments as you get older. Never forget them. Because what you get to do here at Stanstead College as athletes is truly special. Ensure you thank your parents, a group that I don't think has been thanked too much tonight, for giving you this opportunity, as well as the countless other people who made your hockey season what it is. I'd like to give a special thank you to Jean Pelche, our bus driver, for getting us to and from all of our different venues safely. Your future's bright, not just as hockey players, but also as people. I hope that you will continue to enjoy all the moments that sport will provide you. Thank you.
Next program to be recognized is senior girls basketball. I will do the honors. First things first, Mrs. Wolf, thank you for coaching with me, the players, and I appreciate everything you do for the program, of course. Secondly, just like Mr. Thompson, I'm going to give the awards first and save the best part, talking about the team, for last. And I'm going to start with the Major S and MVP trophy winner, actually, and that is Elizabeth Shane. Elizabeth couldn't be here tonight, like Ryan. She's pretty sick, but anyone who has seen us play knows how valuable she was to our success on the court. There are lots of statistics I could give you to prove it, but maybe the most revealing one is this one. With Elizabeth on the floor, we were 17 wins, 16 losses, 500 level team. In the 5 games she missed, we were clearly 0-5. So Elizabeth, if you're watching back home, congratulations on a fantastic season. We are also awarding 2 Senior S's and a Sportsmanship Award. All 3 of you, please come up together. The first Senior S goes to a player who figured out the game this season. She figured out how to be tougher, how to rebound, and how to score ridiculous, contorted, twisty layups where I swear she had to become like two-dimensional to squeeze through. With a phenomenal second half of the season, Senior S to Mariama Berry. The second Senior S goes to a player who took a lot on her shoulders and learned a lot this year. Some games were fun and easy. Some games were nightmares. But through it all, she improved in every facet of the game. Our point guard, our best shooter, our team captain, and a true lover of the game, Senior S to Rosemont Lefebvre. And finally, the Sportsmanship Award is awarded to a player who always makes me smile. Is she a good basketball player? But is she a positive, inclusive, supportive teammate that brings laughter and sunshine to every practice and every game? Hell yes. Always trying her hardest on the court, always cheering the loudest from the bench. One of my favorite players I've ever coached. Sportsmanship Award to Juliette Veilleux. Congratulations, Juju. All 3 come up to receive your awards, please. Have been some themes that have been repeating tonight. I've been coaching for a long time. I will state the following. This is the most improvement I have witnessed from any team I've ever coached in 27 years. So that's a big statement, but it's a true one. To start the year, we had 2 types of players. We had inexperienced players who hadn't played much basketball at all, and we had experienced players with some very bad habits. The first month of practices and games was not pretty, sometimes downright tough to watch. It was a hard road. But by February, this group of athletes had come together, had found a way, had turned themselves into a true basketball team that barely lost the Anderson Bailey in the finals by 6 points and finished an impressive 3rd at the McLeod Provincials. Definitely the most impressive turnaround I have coached. And it happened for 3 reasons. First, belief and buy-in to the system. So despite a defense that most of the players never seen before, some weird things we do on offense, transition, every single player bought in. Even when it wasn't working, they trusted us, and when it finally came together in late January, their patience and trust paid off. Second reason, no ego. We were not a team of superstar ballers, so players had clear, obvious roles, especially on offense. For the first half of the season, we probably had 3 players, Elizabeth, Rosemont, and Mariama, who took 90% of our shots. But no one got bitter. Girls learned their rules, learned their roles, contributed to the whole, and that lack of ego allowed us to improve as a team to the point where we could spread the offense around more. And thirdly, and most of all, individual improvement. We repeated a lot of boring drills in practice, passing, mic, and space, while trying to hammer home the fundamentals that the coaches believed in. And come January, you could see players hesitating less and just playing ball. Everybody got better. Some players really stuck out, like Geneva, who became so tough down low she won a starting job, like Cecilia, who became more confident as the season wore on, like Rosalie, who became a vicious little rebounder by the end of the season, like Leah Rose, who because of her improved basketball IQ and poise on both ends of the floor became an all-court player, not just a lacrosse player, an all-court basketball player we ended up asking to do everything. And finally, like Sammy Smith, who is the best example I can think of someone who rode the bench last year, paid her dues, didn't complain, took all the opportunities presented to her, and by the end of her grade 12 year, became someone we could not take off the floor. I don't think we subbed her off the last 2 weeks of the season. Total buy-in, no ego, and individual improvement. Those were the keys. So I'll say it again. I've been coaching for a long time, but this is the most improvement I've witnessed from any team I've ever coached. And for a coach, there's no bigger compliment that we can give. Congratulations on a great season, and thank you. Now the final program of the night, Varsity Girls Hockey, Mr. Pym.
Good evening. Bonsoir. I'm supposed to stay on script, and it's late, so I will. But I'm going to reverse my order a little bit and also announce our award winners first, and then say a few things about the season. Before I get started, I want to make sure, in honor of those who died and those who survived the Humboldt bus crash, that we honor Horizon Bus Lines and Jean, our typical driver, for getting us to and fro safely every time. We travel lots. We spend many hours, like the boys, on the buses, and it's not something that should ever be taken for granted. I also want to thank our seniors. Before I forget, Boomer, Milianne, Emily, Fortunato, Dominique, Hannah, Portia, Jean, and a shout out to Isa as well. Thank you for everything this year, all your guidance and leadership. Our award winners, we have two Senior S award winners and a Sportsmanship award. So both of these players, I'd like you to come up together. Our first Senior S goes to a player who exemplifies courage, grit, and really stick-to-itness. She recorded 27 wins, 14 by shutout, is heading off to Wisconsin next year, actually fairly soon in June, late June, is Jeanne Gervais. Our second Senior S, as well as our Sportsmanship Award winner, suffered an unbelievable incident that I've never seen ever. She got high stuck under her mask, cutting her nose, and it was a fairly loud shriek, I guess it could be described, and a kind of a surreal moment for all of us, because for a stick to come up under the mask, close to the eye, it's a scary moment. I couldn't believe how well she handled it. I guess upon reflection, doesn't surprise me. She's a Western Canadian girl. She put a Band-Aid on it, put her mask back on, put her helmet back on, and went after it. She has the ability to play extremely tough, gritty, competitive, without taking penalties, without getting mad, and she's extremely positive and cheerful on the bus, in the dressing room, and of course on the ice is Portia Aldon. One of the most, I would say, fulfilling moments of the year was when Portia, who's also an economics student in my class, my grade 12 class, about 2 weeks before the midterm exams, said that she hadn't heard back from University of Calgary's business school, and she needed to dig in and get a little bit better marks to make sure that she got in. If you're from Western Canada, the Hoxane Business School is really where the center of oil and gas exploration and leaders in Western Canada come from. Anyways, 2 weeks later, she got in, and it was a pretty special moment. So way to go, Portia. Both can come up and get your Senior S's, please. We have a couple, two major S awards, and like every coach has echoed tonight, choosing these awards is extremely tough. We have a long season. We start in early September and we go to March 8th. So there's a ton of ups and downs and great moments and tough moments. And that's what makes choosing these awards so tough, I think. But our first major S goes to a player who embodies consistency and focus, discipline, hard work, and great performance. She's heading to Syracuse University next year, Hannah Johnson. The second Major S award is also our MVP winner. And like Mr. Van Dyke, I've been coaching a long time. It's my 25th year in a row of coaching. And I just haven't seen anyone, boy or girl, display this level of resilience in all the years that I've coached. And for her to score the winning goal in our championship final in front of a home crowd, a raucous home crowd at Pat Burns Arena, was extremely gratifying for all of us and relieving in a lot of ways. But for what she persevered through at the start of the year and continued on, soldiering on, getting better every day, going to nationals with Team Quebec. We got her back for another year, which I'm very, very thankful for, before she heads off to a powerhouse in Clarkson University, Laurence Fernet. So I'll stay on script as best I can. I really consider myself to be the luckiest man on campus because I get to jump in a car and head up and down the road and search for tomorrow's talent, put my toque on, my winter coat, and watch closely in rinks trying to find the next varsity Spartan. And that's a lot of fun. It's very fulfilling. I get to talk to college coaches on a regular basis and give them insight on the character of our girls and how hard they work and how good they're getting. I get up at the wee hours of the morning and watch a player or two a year, usually playing overseas, wearing the Team Canada jersey, and I get to watch firsthand how well they get to play for Team Canada online at wee hours in the morning. I get to meet great kids from overseas who do the same thing for their country at the U18 level and bring home a gold for their country. Svenja, congratulations to you as well, and to Marianne with Team Canada, the silver medal. So our program has, because of the efforts of so many girls over the years and the people that have supported it, we have huge scope, and it's taxing but rewarding. I want to thank Corey Jacobson, our assistant coach, Brittany Sharman, our other assistant coach, Sean Ouellette, our goalie coach, Matt DiCarlo, our strength and conditioning coach, Xavier Roy, who designed our program off ice. I'd also like to thank Frederic, physiotherapist, Holly, and Cynthia for supporting our girls' health and wellness throughout the year. And finally, a quick shout out to Shannon, my wife, for supporting some of the road trips. It was truly an unbelievable year for us. The girls matched last season's performance despite a stiffer schedule. We won a lot more than we lost. Most impressively, we won our 5th NAFA championship in a row. And shockingly, the girls haven't lost a game in this league in over 5 years, culminating to almost 100 wins. So it's a truly amazing feat. We beat a team in Shattuck St. Mary's in their home rink on a Friday night after flying across the country. Shattuck's hadn't lost to another boarding school in almost 5 years. So it was a truly amazing feat. We did well in Washington at the JWHL Challenge Cup, ringing up the second best record in the tournament. And we had 5 girls participate at the Nationals for their respective provincial teams, with 2 of the girls heading off to World Championships, like I mentioned. The future is bright. We've got a great incoming class and 15 returning girls. I anticipate a lot more success in the future. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for the bamboo tree tonight, girls, and it was the best gift any team's ever given me. And thanks for everything. Thanks for all your efforts. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Pym, and actually thank you all the coaches who spoke tonight. Before wrapping up, I'd like to leave you with 2 quotes from UCLA gymnastics legend, Miss Val. At the end of the day, the reward and validation of success needs to come from within, knowing we had prepared and performed to our best ability, regardless of the score. And from Josh Spidell himself, about the layup he made at his senior night. My dad joked with me. He said, you know, you could always miss it, grab a rebound, and add to your stats a little. I thought about that, but then I figured I might as well end my college career shooting 100%. Thank you for all your fine comportment this evening. This is important now. All award winners and their coaches stay behind for photos. Do not leave. That includes all S's, MVPs, sportsmanship awards, everything, and all coaches. For everyone else, when you return to the residences, there will be no study. Please stand and let the faculty and the audience leave the church first. Enjoy Cafe Cap. Have a great March break.